Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. I'm going to show you how to fix a noisy dryer. In this case, this is a Kenmore Elite Oasis, and we're going to change the idler pulley along with the little roller wheels or bearings and the drive belt as well. But let me turn it on here so you can hear what it sounds like. Alright, so we can power off the machine, and then let's also unplug it. First thing we need to do is lift this top up, and we can open the door and just get a rigid putty knife. Push in right there at the end. You see this little metal clip right here? That's what we're trying to push in to release. And then there's another one over here in this end. Same thing. Just push in with that putty knife on this end while you lift up on the lid. We can just lean that back up against the wall, or if you've got something to tie it up, that would be great. I actually just put a little tie rope on there just to hold that up and prevent it from crashing down on my fingers while I'm doing this. There's this electrical connector here which connects to the door. Really, this is just the door switch. So we can disconnect that and just set it aside. There's two 5/16 screws that hold the top part of the door on, and we're just going to take those out. Just careful not to drop those down inside. Same thing on the left side here. Get in here and undo this. Just take that off again, set that aside. Okay, so you can see that this front piece has come away. Position the door closed and lift up on the door, and these little fasteners down here, it's like a little hook, and that goes into this little hole here on the bottom of the door. But now that this is off, we're just going to set it out of the way. Alright, now down in front here, it's like a little lint chute. This has got 4 screws, 2 at the top, 2 down below. We can just loosen and remove those. Again, that's just a 5/16 screw. Now before this piece comes off, you do have to pull out the lint screen, and you can see that that piece will just kind of drops forward, and we can set that out of the way. Now before we remove this last front piece, I'm going to also disconnect this switch right here. Same thing if you use a little flathead screwdriver or whatever you've got to pry that apart. You've got 4 screws that hold this in place, and the top one's kind of slotted, so we don't need to remove those all the way. I think what I'll do is just loosen that. Same thing with this side. And the bottom ones, though, I'm going to take them out. Okay, now you should be able just to lift up on this front piece carefully, and just keep in mind that the drum is resting on the roller wheels here, so it might fall a little bit. Just trying to separate this. Again, this isn't as easy to do with one hand. There we go. Okay, so there we have this front piece. And this has 2 of the wheels on it down here at the bottom, and you can see they're gunked up pretty good, not spinning super smooth, but we've got 2 more in the back. Before we take this drum out completely, you know, it's just kind of resting down here. We need to get underneath and release the belt from the drive pulley. This is inside underneath the drum. I've just got the drum propped up right now so that you can see what's going on. But this right here is the idler pulley, and the drive pulley is right down here. The easiest way to do this is just pull back on this idler pulley, and at the same time release the belt off of that. You can almost just kind of just peel it off if you'd like, and just let that idler pulley go down And then there's your belt, completely loose now. So now we can come back out. See, that's where we were. We're here in the front of the dryer. Just reach back in there and undo that belt. Now the drum is just loosely sitting inside here. Again, hard with one hand, but you can kind of just use the belt to help you lift that up. There we go. Sorry, that's not the best film job there, but just pull the drum out of the way. And it's kind of a tight squeeze, but this will bend and open a little bit so that we can access these other drive wheels here. That one is spinning, but oh, here we go. This one right here is not wanting to move at all. That's probably the source of some of the noise. And this idler pulley is hardly moving at all. Very, very stuck. And I'm sure that's that one right there is probably the main source of the noise, but we'll go ahead and change them all out since we're in here. The process to change this is pretty much the same for all of these drive wheels or roller wheels and this idler pulley, but there's this little it's like a little triangle shaped snap ring. This little triangle just is what holds this in place. This thing is so stuck on there it doesn't even want to come off. So there's the old idler pulley, completely stuck. And then there's a little washer on the inside here as well. That we'll take that off. Now before we put the new pulley on, it's important to clean this off. So I've just got a little paper towel or rag, kind of just saturated that with a little bit of WD-40 just to kind of help take off anything that's causing that to stick. And our kit comes with a new washer, which is a different material. It's not metal like the other one. And we'll put that on first, and then our pulley, and of course that spins nicely. And then we just secure it in place with that same triangle shaped snap ring. You just kind of snap it in place. Make sure it's seated on there. And that's it for that pulley, but now we can move on and change the other rollers. Now, similar with these roller wheels here, just go ahead and pry off this little triangle snap ring if we can. Screwdriver works fine, or a pair of pliers, I guess. Then we can take off this roller. Now these have got a back try ring or snap ring. I'm going to take those off as well. And the kit comes with new ones, so I'm just going to replace all of them. And I'm just going to clean this shaft and these grooves right here with a paper towel with a little bit of WD-40 on there to try to clean off any of that gunk. Okay, now we can put on our new triangular snap rings. And just slide that back. Then we can put our new roller wheel on here. And then this outer triangular little snap ring will just snap into place and hold that. There we go. That's looking pretty good. These new snap rings are pretty stiff, so they're kind of a pain. Same thing with this next rear wheel. Just pop off that little snap ring or snap triangle, I guess you'd call it. Take off the wheel. Lots of junk built up in there. And we'll get that cleaned up here. Now this is a little tricky because of course when you're trying to put on this back ring, of course it gets caught in the front groove, so you kind of just gotta work past it. Just push past it and get it to lock in that back piece there. Then we can put that second new wheel on, and then there we go. Just make sure that everything spins freely. Now we can move on to the two wheels in the front. Okay, now this is the the wheel or the roller on the this front piece. I've got it turned upside down just for the ease of filming and doing this. And just take that off. Okay, now we can put the rear tri-ring on here. And then we can put the new pulley on. And finally that last tri-ring here. And just make sure that that spins nicely, which it does. And just pop off this outer tri-ring. Pull off the old roller wheel. And then let's just take off this back tri-ring here. And same thing, we'll get this one cleaned up. And then we can put our tri-rings back on. Okay. And then we can put our new roller wheel in place. And finally that last tri-ring will just snap into that outer groove like so. And that spins nicely. Now we can get ready to put the new belt on and put the drum back in. Now I pulled off the old belt here. It actually does not look too bad, and so I'll probably just hang on to that as a spare and just kind of open it up and stretch it over the drum. And this goes with these little grooves facing the drum so that it will go on the drive pulley the correct way. I just wanted to say it's probably a good idea to take this opportunity to clean out the inside of the dryer and wipe down all this lint and reduce the risk of fire. So I'm going to get that cleaned up before I put this drum back in, but I just wanted to show you I've got the belt wrapped around the drum and it's ready to lift in place once we get that cleaned up. So we'll just pick up the drum and set it in place over here. So you kind of just want to line up the felt here, but at the same time you also want to sit it on the rollers. The rollers ride in this groove right here, so it's kind of just pull up on the belt and put it in place like that. Now just make sure that the belt is facing with the grooves against the drum, and then we can go underneath and put that drive belt back on the drive pulley and around the idler pulley. So here's your new belt, and just make sure that these grooves are facing the right direction. And it's pretty easy just to come around this idler pulley. You see, you just kind of put it in this channel and pull it back like that. And then you just got to get a little bit of tension on that idler arm so that you can bring this bottom part down around the drive pulley. Okay, so my camera died on me, but I found that it was easier to route the belt down below around the idler pulley, and I actually just left the belt down in this groove, and then just kind of just use your fingertips and just pull it back on in place, and then just go around and make sure that it's not twisted or bent or anything. Okay, now with one hand I'm holding the drum up in place, and then we can put this next piece on that's got these lower rollers, and just kind of line that up. Make sure we get that roller set inside there. And you kind of just gotta line this up, make sure that this center part goes inside the felt of the drum. A little bit easier with two hands, but here I've left these screws in there so they just pop up over this little slot and then drop down into place. Just like this one right over here as well. And just make sure that the felt lip is where it's supposed to be, all the way around the inside of this panel there. We can put these screws back in down below. And then these ones at the top, we'll just go ahead and tighten those. We can reconnect this connector right here, just clip it together. We can also put this little vent part back on. Looks like it's easier to line it up down below and then press that into place. And then it's got these 4 screws that hold it in place. Just getting these started by hand, and then we'll just come through and tighten those with our 5/16 nut driver. Alright, now we can put this whole door panel on, and just remember these little holes down here, they line up with that hook on the bottom. See if we can't get that lined up. You know, actually, before I put that on, I'm going to reconnect this this connector right here on the right side. So now we can just lift this up and line it up down below. You'll see how it kind of hooks on right there. Just make sure that this side is also hooked on. Looks like it is. And then we can replace those screws. It's the 5/16. Same machine screws on pretty much everything. There we go. Helps to get it started by hand, and then just tighten those down. And then we can put our lint screen back in. Just like I said, I had the top of this kind of tied off up here to make sure that it didn't fall down on me, and then we can just carefully lower the lid back down and just make sure that it lines up right there, and then it'll just snap into place on both ends. And then we can go ahead and plug it in, and we'll just give it a quick test here, and there you go. Sounds a lot better than it did before. Not the quietest dryer, but definitely not screaming like it was. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. I'll put a link in the description where you can buy these parts that I used in this video through Amazon.com. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.